Hi all! Today on Designing with Dr. Deb, we're going to talk about my beef with plus size advertising. More companies are starting to offer plus size clothing or calling themselves size inclusive clothing, which I want to talk about in a later video. But a lot of companies are getting backlash when they start advertising for plus sizing. Why is this? Well, let's take a look at some of the differences between advertisements with thin women and ads with larger plus size fat women, particularly in lingerie, underwear, and swimwear. First, here's an example of a Victoria's Secret ad, which is very typical in the fashion industry. We've got mostly white women, they're blonde, thin, young, in their 20s, there's no smiling, parted lips, and the smoldering eye look. This is what we're exposed to every day. Here are a few examples from other brands. Shopbop. You've got a very beautiful, fair-skinned woman draped across the bed in her lingerie. Again, no smiling, very sultry, and very thin. Then there's Calvin Klein, well known for their two-tone ads with Kate Moss and many other popular celebrities, but again, no smiling. I guess smiling's not allowed in lingerie ads, and you've got to have the long blonde hair and lips parted with the sultry look. All required. Not convinced? Here are a few more for good measure. Armani, Fairform, Blush, Memories, Vassarette, Evergy, and many, many more. Now for the plus size ads. First, many plus size advertisements rarely have plus size women in them. Second, where are their faces? Do they have heads? This practice is very dehumanizing. Third, if they do show their faces, there's no eye contact. Fourth, there is smiling, perhaps implying that larger women cannot be sultry or sexy. Fifth, the positioning of the body. If they do use a plus size woman in an advertisement, they are always positioned in a way that they're covering their rolls or they're covering more of their body. Also, we see them wearing more clothes. So for lingerie, swimwear, they usually have a towel or a robe or some sort of shawl. Sixth, we see a lot of women that appear to be older, implying that only older women are plus size? Not true. Let's take a look at some examples. This ad really stands out to me for a few reasons. First, I like that there are a lot of different skin, hair, height, and body types displayed, which I think is great, but every single woman, with the exception of the thin woman, is covering a place on her body where there might be a roll. And we don't know if this is direction from the photographer or from the creative director, or if these women naturally cover themselves because they and we've been trained to be self-conscious of our bodies. You'll notice that they are also smiling, again implying that being sexy and large don't go together. You rarely see an ad for a plus size model where she's in a bed. If you do, they are rarely in lingerie. They're usually covered with sheets. I found women on the floor and ground, but not really in a bed, which makes me think, why can thin women be positioned in a comfortable bed with lingerie, but not a fat woman? Here's Ashley Graham. We just love her. She's a very popular quote unquote plus size model, and in this ad, she's standing, smiling, playing with her hair, and covering her front right hip and thigh. But in the shadow, you can see how the underwear doesn't really fit her body, and that's why she's positioned her arm there to cover that little roll. The difference between these two types of ads really show us the subtle messaging about how we believe as a society that thin and fat women should behave. Thin women should be white, blonde, very direct with their eye contact, sultry, open with their body language, and inviting to others. Large, plus-size fat women should also be white, but women of color are more accepted. They should mostly be blonde, but brunette and black hair is also acceptable. They should be very passive without eye contact, which is a non-verbal communication of shame, also low self-esteem, low confidence, and also what people do when they feel embarrassed. Lastly, they also are very guarded with their bodies. If it's not with their hands, it's with other clothing to help them cover up. Most people don't directly see this when they look at an ad, but these cues are internalized. So a young fat woman will see this and think, well, that's how I'm supposed to be. Same with a thin young woman who might think, I need to be sexual and sultry. Are these the type of message cues that we want to be sending to our culture? I don't think so. I think we need women of all sizes, colors, shapes, heights, smiling, with open arms and comfortable with their bodies, in scanty lingerie. The more we narrow the imagery we use in advertising, the more we narrow the behaviors that we expect from each other. So I think we need to have advertising that covers the whole spectrum. So next time you go to create an advertisement or work with a model or a designer, be sure to consider these things. How are you having women portrayed? What is their body language? What is their face communicating? So What do you want to see in advertising? How would you like to be portrayed? Can you find any ads that defy these typical patterns? Let us know. Share with your friends. Be sure to like on all of our social medias, all the things if you haven't yet, and let us know what you want to hear about next. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll catch you on the flippity flip.